So anyway, there's a few clever ideas and pithy sentences in Yarvin's Gray Mirror post, Gaza and the Nomos of the Earth, but primarily this time I'm focusing on about clear pilling yourself on Gaza. So I want you to compare and contrast, if you're interested, his perspective, if you can call it that, his clever ideas, his solution, final solution to the problem of Gaza. He doesn't take into account everything, like the West Bank and a lot of historical aspects of this, but doesn't matter. You read it and read his posts and see what you think, if you will. And then compare it with Tricontinental, Vijay Prashad, and his way of looking at it. Okay, so one's reactionary and the other one's from an NRX to neo-reactionary X. And I don't know if he characterizes himself that way now, but traditionally that's been Curtis's thing. And Vijay is socialist, so tricontinental. These are different ways of looking at the world, but you can take a look at what Vijay has to say about Gaza and compare and contrast that with Curtis Yarvin and see what you think. I could talk a lot about what Curtis wrote and pick it apart, because there are aspects of it that really bother me. But other parts of it are like, yeah, makes sense, or haha, that's clever. And then some of it, you know, the dog whistles and the coded language, it's like, okay, fine, you're clever. You're a clever guy. A OG blogger. Basically, you know, real people are getting hurt and people are compassionate. People feel for people who are getting blown up by a superpower. Yeah, people care about underdogs and so on. Most people do.
Cannot even imagine right now a one-state solution unless they get past this ethno-national concept, which is why instead of a one-state or a two-state question, you got the three-state solution. And that's Lebanon, Jordan, and Egypt. They want to expel the Palestinians and create this zone for Jews to live in safely. This is an error, you know, because as you say, you can't keep building apartheid walls further and further away. It's not going to work. People are still going to thirst to come back home. Now, it is also a bet that people make. You know, my family is from Pakistan. Many of them had come in the 1930s into what is today India. But my uncles and my aunts and so on were still in Lahore in 1947. They had to get on a truck and drive across the border. 13 million people crossed the border to create India and Pakistan. 1 million people died in the process of that crossing. It's a terrible history. We don't want to use partition as a model for anything. Look, the British tried to bring partition to Israel. They did it in India. 1 million dead. 13 million had to move. They didn't learn a lesson. They took that same thing and brought it to Palestine and said, we'll partition, you know, we'll get the Palestinians out, blah, blah, blah. Look where it leads you. People, I've visited homes in Jordan, in refugee camps, in homes in Lebanon, in refugee camps. You know, there are Palestinians, fourth generation, holding the key to their house, somewhere in some village in what is now Israel, still with the key, still hoping to go back. Because why?
Well, hello, folks. I read a couple of things by Curtis Yarvin lately, so he's at it again. I love it when certain kinds of reactionaries or conservatives or whatever don't like rationalists or rationalism, but they're really good at rationalizations and justifications for whatever it is, whatever point they want to make. And it's usually a little bit controversial because that's what gets you attention. And for the super fans, it's great because it means that you are smarter than everybody else because you hold a more heterodox view or something. And I get that. So you can't criticize the man because, he is who he is and he's a genius. Has all the answers, but of course, none of those answers will ever come about. So recently, I have a problem with the effective altruism movement and Peter Singer. I just don't, but I don't have a problem with thinking that one might find it a good thing to expand one's circle of compassion or empathy. I don't think that's a bad thing. But he's talking about basically the best thing to do is just not give a damn what happens in Israel. If America didn't get involved, it'd be better. Just let it play out. As soon as all the Palestinians are living in Egypt or somewhere else or become a diaspora, the better it'll be. That'll save lives. And he uses the human shield thing. No talk of like you're an occupied population living in a prison camp. There's a big power discrepancy. The United States is backing you to the hilt with weapons and money all the time, year after year. And you want to resist, so somehow that's bad but I think maybe Israel wanted Hamas to resist because it gives them an excuse to just get rid of all the Palestinians for greater Israel. I think that's plausible, right? Anyway, they can't move out. They don't have a place to run to. Like in Fallujah, they can't just go to the countryside while America turns the city into rubble to get to the ISIS people, or whatever city that was, Ramadi or what, I don't remember. But there's no place to run, and they're not really giving people the opportunity to go anywhere anyway because they're bombing them all over the place. So if you're headed south, you're going to get bombed anyway. So, and the other thing is, why should these people care about Palestine? All these millions of people around the world and all these countries around the world who are marching in support of Palestinian people. They're kind of silly and stupid, he's thinking, because it's futile or something. Or why should they care? But the vast majority of people, and I mean, Curtis, you yourself and your kids and your friends, find this kind of violence repugnant, grotesque, disgusting, horrific, nasty, brutish. I mean, that's just what most people would feel. Now, I understand you can be trained to hate and to kill and to have no feelings. You can probably be born a decent person and become a sociopath, and then through various experiences become a psychopath and whatever. But most people find this pretty horrific and disgusting. So that's why they're doing it. And no, they don't have a means to escape. Your plan will never happen. It's just as stupid as your reasoning and thinking is just as ridiculous as Peter Singer's. Everybody's just going to decide, we're going to just insulate in our kingdoms, in our multipolar world, and let things happen, which, maybe. All the genies are out of the bottle and all the genies are killing civilization, and they will eventually. But you can't put them back in the bottle. So they're trying all these new Belt and Road things. The American one that's going to go through Israel. Yeah, right. Anyway, Hamas made a move. It might galvanize a lot of states in the region to go against Israel. Maybe it'll sink the Saudi agreement. At any rate, to do anything new and special and innovative as a trade route, American Belt and Road, you have to build it on Chinese infrastructure. Hey, it's all absurd. I grant you that. But your solution is ridiculous. Not going to happen. It's a nice thing to punt, like, what if? Imagine that. I'm all about that. What if we just, what if the Egyptians just built a nice little town, high-rise town in the Sinai for them, and then you could let the developers come in and build the Ben Gurion resort on the beachfront in Gaza, and the world would be fine, and a lot of lives would be saved. It doesn't work that way. You know history well enough to know that. So yeah, there's a hypocrisy and a double standard between Armenians and Palestinians and so on. Yeah, most people in the States probably don't know where Gaza is. And they don't know where Armenia is or what it is. They have no Azerbaijani. They probably think it's an Azerbaijani, some kind of rainbow flag thing. They just don't know. They're ignorant. They're not stupid people. They're just ignorant. But when they see the killing, when it's in their face day in and day out, it bothers them. So yeah, the Armenians could just vacate and go away and admit defeat, tap out. And that was great. Probably saved lives. I grant you that. But this is not that. These are two different things. And the history is completely different. And as long as the most powerful country in the world wants to support the most militarily powerful country in the region of the Middle East at the moment, because of the efforts by the United States to create failed states all over that region, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, on and on and on. Only Turkey can stand up to anybody over there. But yeah, the real politic and whatnot. So a lot of things Curtis says is like, yeah, it makes sense, but the logic is still biased and twisted towards his usual NRX thing or whatever it is these days. I don't know. But I just want to end with this. Most people find this violence repugnant, and they don't like it. And that's just natural, okay? Has nothing to do with the effective altruism movement, all right? We just don't like it. I don't like it. You wouldn't like it if they were bombing wherever the hell you are this week, as you admitted, of course, but come on. If the Palestinians were just going to go away, they would have gone away in the late 1940s. Blood and soil, you don't have to make that connection. People do have homelands. You kick you go in, there's millions and millions, tens of millions of Native Americans. Takes a while to mow the grass to where you can put tiny populations of Hopi and Navajo people on a res. And then they can live in peace because you're not killing them anymore. But, that's what happens in history. People come and take what they want. The powerful countries are going to take what they want, period. So we're going to fight over these resources in the Arctic. We're going to militarize space. This is what we do. And we're going to cook the planet. And then everybody gets to starve together in peace. But there's no sense that anyone wants to mitigate anything. It's all apocalyptic now. It's all biblical. Eschatological. It's end times, end times Zionism, Jewish Zionism, end times Christian Zionism, which is a complete contradiction in terms, blasphemy, because you can't be a Christian Zionist and be a Christian. There's so many contradictions there. That's another story. And of course, Islamic people, Sunnis, Shiite, they have their own eschatology and their own end times and judgment days and how it's going to work out. What's going to actually happen is we're going to just continue to get more and more insanely violent. America didn't do very well with the Pax Americana They screwed it up big time. Failed foreign policy forever, as long as I've been alive, and I'm older than you, buddy, by 15 years. So anyway, yeah, people find the violence repugnant. That's why they're pissed off. And other people in the region, just even though they don't give a damn about Palestinians, they never did, they still recognize that Christian and Muslim people are getting slaughtered. And they don't like it. Bully MT, out.